I thought, he's not she wanted to talk about the
Sure, Dave Owens got love. He and I talked, he came over, he wasn't happy
Did he?
about that.
What did he say?
He wasn't happy. When he said what the academy was, I can tell you that.
See, the thing I'm worried about is next year.
So is he interim right now?
Well, no, it's his lead assistant
But
principal.
he's interim.
Because Craig is still there.
That way they know, because only a Texas is trying to assist the Zinkley, so.
Because that traces back to the Big Bang.
And this
He's the executive director.
on the dark side of
But
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Is that recent? Or?
Yes, just recent, like last week. So they had to put a satellite in stationary orbit because you can't transit to the
Yeah.
dark side, so they have bounced up to get to Earth.
Because like that's the other side. There's nothing. Because it doesn't rub. It doesn't. Yeah.
Well, because, yeah, it's been captured. And hardly anybody has done anything.
I saw your thing on the Disney.
well, it is like that. They were
Finally.
I need to tell.
school,
But I mean, they're talking about. I know they're talking about colonizing Mars.
Yeah, they want to get to Mars.
That's true.
It'd be so much easier to go back and forth.
We don't have. The moon doesn't have water.
Such a great counselor.
And open that box, and you can get there a lot faster to rescue people.
Yeah. Yeah, but we just like we need some way of transporting the water up there.
So we are
Or
gonna
maybe,
start,
yeah.
maybe you can share,
That's your job.
share. Yeah, you can. And then you guys can share. And then oh, Maria. All right, so, when the kids come in, so last semester what we did with the math module is they did an experiment, right? And they gathered data from that experiment, which is blackworm pulse rates, correct? So this semester we're gonna analyze that same data. What we're gonna do is we're gonna input some concepts that's related to that data analysis. So what's gonna happen is when the students come in, they will be in their own groups that they had last semester. So there's about 6 groups in the first. As they come in, you would like to ask your help that you assign yourself to one of those 6 groups. All right, so you have to be stationed with the kids. So you're going to be one teacher is going to be with the kids. Now, when you get in, you're going to receive this envelope, a whiteboard, markers, erasers, rulers, calculator, and those ABCD text. All right, I don't know, paddle?
Had auction house, that's what I was calling, but we're not selling anything.
So those, okay? And then as we go through the module, what's gonna happen is we're gonna present this PowerPoint. So in the PowerPoint, I'm gonna talk to you more about what's in there. On the PowerPoint, we have a lot of different things. There's what we call a review.
Yeah, you got a direction. You're supposed to go huddle down.
Oh.
That's why we were just put this down here.
Does it really matter? Well, actually, it kind of feels like the group right here is way.
Stuck in the same room.
Yeah, you got supposed to be all the way down there.
To be continued. All right.
Let's move quickly.
You get to end with us, yay! Save the math for last.
I guess second class super last.
Take 2, action.
It's always like.
Math module semester 2, action. Just sit where there's a manila envelope, maybe share 2 or 3 people, or if you know, that's fine, I can give it to you.
We can pass.
You can share.
Yeah, man.
And you guys in the back will share. Do you need this? Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, let's do this quick. All right, so, so last semester, I just turned myself in. Last semester, the kids did an experiment involving blackworms. So what they did was, they got data that involves the pulse of blackworms. So, this semester, we're gonna analyze the data that they got from last semester. and we're gonna use concepts that's related to data analysis. So when they enter the room, they will be sitting in their own groups as last semester. So whoever they experimented with last semester, they're gonna sit with those same people. We would like to ask for help if you could assign yourself to each one of those groups. So one teacher should be sitting in one of those groups. That way, you know, I'm gonna tell you later on that we need your help in facilitating all the things that's happening. So when they enter, you're assigned to one of those groups. We are gonna be doing this PowerPoint. Now the PowerPoint has a lot of elements in it. We are gonna do reviews. We're gonna do examples. So when we do examples, that means we are showing the kids how it's done. So whether it be by hand, if they have to calculate something by hand, or if it's in Google Sheets, we are gonna show them how to do it in Google Sheets. And then there's also what we call, when you see the Blackboard data thing, that means we're gonna use the concept that we just showed in the example and apply it to their own data. So they're gonna have access to the data that they collected last semester. So let's say the example we had was about finding the mean. The next one will say Blackboard data, they're gonna find the mean for their own data. So it's just, you know, we teach, we do it on the data. So it's just that for every concept we use. And then there's also what we call a check for understanding. So let me tell you what this one has. So in this manila envelope, you will see several things, and I'll tell you what it is. The first thing you'll see, I don't know, you can take them out. There are these ones, the ones that staple. This is the one that's staple. Is the, you need one?
Mr. Bates,
What this is these are the answers to all the check for understanding questions. Because these are, and after we show them how it's done and after they practice, we want to make sure that they understand what they're doing. So this is the key. If they're having trouble, go look over this and see, oh, did you put this on right? So you can check this out. Okay, so this is for you. This is not for the kids. Another thing that you'll see there is the scatter plot graph. So when PowerPoint says graph the scatter plot by hand, you're going to hand this to the kids. Right? One per group, so they can decide maybe if they're plotting points, maybe one person can plot 3 points, the other person can plot the other 3, so you figure that out for you. So just make sure that, you know, we have extras if you need some. You'll also find the Google Sheets how-tos and the graphing calculator how-tos. So the middle schools will do Google Sheets. The high schools will do Google Sheets and calculator. Okay, so that way they know how to do both. So that's that. And then here you will find the check for understanding numbers 3 and 5. The number 3 is, so they'll have to mix and match the graph of the scatter plot with the description of the scatter plot. So when you see that we're doing check for me right there, it says mix and match the scatter plot, give this to the kids, they work on it, when they're done you can check if it's right, and then back in the envelope so we can use it for the next session. So that's the check for understanding pieces. And then there are also, so again, you're doing examples, practice, and then Blackboard data. Run through the and then there's the multiple choice portion of this. The multiple choice will have to use the option patterns. So there is a portion where they're using whiteboards. There's a portion where they're using the mix and match. There's a portion where they use the paddles. And then at the very end, we'll put them all together in a Socrative quiz. Socrative is like the who is just different, a little bit different. So again, the pattern is you do the example, we show them how to do the example, they practice on a simple data, and then they're going to apply the same concept to their own Blackboard data. And then if we have time at the very end, when they do all those concepts, they can present their own data to the class. What did they get for R? What is the linear regression equation? And all those kinds of things. Because you can only see the data that they use.
So remember, they only tested one kind of sugar. So if they were a group that tested refined sugar, they're only working the numbers and getting the regression line and the R value correlation coefficient for that refined sugar. They won't see the results for the artificial. So sharing out, remember they're gonna be, well, not this group, but the kids that are doing the websites and stuff need to put all the information from all three kinds of sugar and what happened. Basically our conclusions, what conclusions we can draw about the three types of sugar in the heart rates. And there actually are some pretty awesome conclusions. Like the math worked out, Cecil.
Always does.
So as a math team, I think we have enough people that we can also situate ourselves one for each group, especially when it comes to calculators, the Google Sheets and all that. But of course, if you're familiar with any of those, we have maybe one thing we have the kids too.
Because they're gonna be working on their computers. And for middle school, for those of you wondering, we're gonna be in the 2708, 2807, I don't know. 2708, down there in the corner. And we figured out those laptops there and how we can get them logged in with that temporary, the password we get every week. And so we're gonna be there for middle school. I'm not so sure we'll be there for high school unless we wanna stay in the same spot.
They have some of that.
Yeah,
Should be.
but everything's there, for them to do, but they'll have that. And then the high schoolers have that addition of us utilizing and showing them how to find the R value from a list of data and inputting it in the calculator, just because that's a very powerful tool that they have at their disposal typically in every high school math class, but yet they don't know how to use even half of what's in it, right? And so this would be, hey, this can do all these statistics and you don't have to punch in all these numbers over and over and over again to get different values or these complicated formulas. They do have to house those in the calculator a lot of times. Or the Google spreadsheet, of course.
And there's a lot going on in this module.
Right.
There's whiteboards and that's why we are asking for your help.
Right.
To kind of help them not be confused. Like, we've tried hard to put all the whiteboards together. And put all, that way it's not here and there, but it's everywhere. So hopefully it will help us get the kids focused on the task and they understand the material. Any questions?
So one thing, I'm saying this to each of the groups, but one thing I'm gonna ask you guys, when, within the next couple Saturdays before parent breakfast, whatever group of kids you have, begin to talk to them about what happens during parent breakfast and the expectations for them during parent breakfast. So whatever math thing is gonna be done or whatever, so that way they know kind of ahead of time. And then when they're at the table, they're able to, assist with their parents or other parents and all that. And then if you guys have kids involved with the presentation, that too, that's great. But just the more awareness so that, the day of, there's more people involved and helping out.
And right when we're done with this, Sam is going to go over the parent breakfast. If you don't have any other questions, if you have questions about the module.
So for the parent breakfast math module piece that we're gonna go through is just the Punnett square. And so at each table already, how we have everything in baggies ready to go, will be a small blank Punnett square, and then a baggie that has possible daddies, baby daddies. Okay, so they're just gonna pull out a daddy. Woo, out the thing. I even considered, I asked first, the paint that on blue paper and then mama's on pink paper. Oh, we're getting gender stereotypes going. So you're gonna pull out a daddy, and it will have the deno and phenotype for whether they're a taster or non-taster. Remember the PTC paper? Okay, and then they're gonna put out a mama, right? And then put them on the little square and fill it out and calculate the ratio, of course, whether the person's recessive, I don't know, homogynous, okay. They'll do that part. I should not be the one presenting this, right? And then at the, so they'll do that, and then the percentages, so ratios and percentages, and then they actually take, what am I forgetting? They take the PTC paper, because there'll be a baggie of that, and test whether they are taster or non-taster. So they get that link between, it actually, and a lot of the kids took those extra paper, and we ordered like 5 million pieces of those, so we're not gonna run out.
They've already done it, but
Right.
it'll just be interesting to see, because they'll probably bring friends, grandparents,
Right.
whatever, so that they can do a bit
Okay.
more.
So it's just
in-depth sort of research.
Very simple, 4, blank, on the square, mama, daddy, yeah. And we'll model one up at the screen, or we're also placing a math person, teacher in the 2 overflow areas so that there'll be a live person there to assist and help explain as well, even if it's being, streamed in or whatever we decide we want that to go well. And then they can all leave with a bad taste in their mouth. Should we be last? So, quick. And so just helping that, and then we can prep that with students to, hey, remember your Punnett Square Plus it's on the pre-post. So it's good to remind them of that. So remember the Punnett Square, because you'll be helping your parents or whoever you're sitting with at the table to do that and complete it. And explain it. Simple, easy to do right at the table. Paper, pencil, and then mama, daddy, blank, and paper to taste. Right? Ooh, we did a good time, and we started late. One thing we wanted to do as a math team was to not like shove a big correlation, big formula, lots of steps to actually chunk through and do it on your own, like with just calculator, paper, pencil, lots of columns and parts.
Jennifer did.
Oh yeah,
Didn't go to
you remember the correlation? Yeah, she's like, oh, she does it every night for
I
fun.
have it.
Yes, she does it every night for fun before she goes to bed. But instead of us having the students chunk through that, to use the technology pieces that are at the, and then the math concept is, what is it when I get that answer of the R value? So yes, the Google spreadsheet's doing the math for them, because they're gonna learn how to do that. Woo, we can do the correlation, find the equation, all that stuff. But what does that mean? And to me, that's more important. Can they know what that means than to chunk through a formula? That kills me to say that, Cesar Criswell, but it's true.
Doing great.
So more about, can they take that knowledge of what an R value means and draw some conclusions in a.
Well, and also too, I know they'll talk about it, but, you know, when we talk about correlation, we're talking about relationship. So we're not
Yeah.
necessarily talking causation. So, you know, just because you say that, you know, this